Yeah. All right, so we had Sandisk, and you are announcing here at IFA that your product is shipping with the Classmate, right?
Right. The product we're announcing here at IFA from Sandisk is USSD 5000.
Yeah.
This is a solid-state drive with a USB interface. I'm holding it here in my hand.
Yeah.
It's an embedded module that sits on the board, on the motherboard, and it's shipping right now in Intel's Classmate PC.
Oh, it's gonna ship, right?
Yeah, we already have a previous version actually that is shipping that is out in the third world for the education market for the third world. So it's actually used in classrooms with this USSD 5000 product.
It's already shipping in the what's it called, the test schools? You mean in the test products, in the beta versions, or?
There's a previous version that is already shipping, and Intel expressed interest also in this newer version.
All right.
And the reason that this is very interesting for the market is, or actually has a perfect value proposition for this market, is for several reasons. The first reason is that the cost of this device is much cheaper than a hard disk, because you don't need the high capacity of the hard disk for this market.
Right.
Actually, all they need is 2 gigabytes of flash on the device, and you boot from this device with 2 gigabytes. You have the operating system there and the few applications that the school children need. And they actually store their data, their work, their homework, all their schoolwork on the web through their server. That's why they can use a very low capacity. Now, of course, this being a flash disk makes it much more reliable. There's no mechanical moving parts. There's just here the flash and the controller from Sandisk, some full Sandisk product. And this allows for very rugged laptops that can use the wear and tear of the classroom. Let me close this and show you. This is actually a very cute laptop here. That the children
it's magnetic.
carry. Yes.
Magnetic.
Yeah.
All right.
And the children actually can carry these around.
So this is just for a demonstration purpose?
Yes, right here we have an external USB adapter to show you working, but if I plug this out, of course the laptop will turn off.
Because right now it doesn't have any memory inside, only there through USB.
Right, no disk inside. This actually totally replaces the disk.
Oh yeah?
We have the larger products, the solid-state drives that are hard disk replacements for the mainstream laptop market, that are used now for corporations, for the big enterprises where they need the ruggedness of this SSD. These, though, were made with the form factor of the hard disks. This is the 1.8-inch, completely replacing the hard disk in terms of size. This product, also the USSD 5000, also replaces the hard disk, but it's not the same size. Actually, the size, the very small size here, is an advantage for these very small laptops. It's about a quarter of the size of this product. And you can see here that this laptop, the low-cost PC, the Classmate PC from Intel, actually uses this product and is designed to use a flash product and not a hard disk at all.
All right.
In addition, we have a very good performance and much better power consumption than you can get with the hard disk drive.
And that's why they chose Sandisk also instead of their own flash memory or other companies, is because you are especially low in power? Or?
I cannot comment on their product, but I can tell you that they're using this USSD in their Classmate PCs. It's a very good cost, and it also is a very proven technology coming from Sandisk. As a matter of fact, you're probably familiar with the USB flash drive, the cruisers coming from Sandisk. They are also USB flash drives. This is an embedded version of the USB flash drive, so all the IP and all the know-how coming from Sandisk is in this controller, and working together with this flash to give you the excellent flash management of Sandisk products.
Right now you're using the USB on this test unit, but how about behind there's a port? And what is that kind of port?
This connector over here, the 2.5, excuse me, a 2x5 pin that fits directly on the motherboard. It actually hooks into these pins, the 2x5 pins of Intel on the board. And that's why it can be placed as a module on the board, and you don't need to use anything external. Of course, this would not be rugged for the classroom. This is just so you can see what it's using. If I pull this out, you will have nothing to see because the whole operating system is on the device.
So right now we are beginning of September. And are they planning to mass market it, mass manufacture
Yes,
it by the end of the year?
Yes, yes.
Yeah?
Already this year there should be in mass market, this product. This new
Are
product.
there any information you can say about how big the market, how mass the market is going to be this year?
Look, I can say, I can't say how much, of course, we are going to ship, and I can't speak for Intel, but I read in the press that this emerging market of the low-cost PC and this market for helping education in the third world is expected to be huge. Talking about millions of children out there in the world who will be using these low-cost PCs or different versions of them, you know, from China to India to South America. There's a lot of children out there with many programs to help education there with these lower-cost PCs.
All right. Thanks a lot.
Sure. Thank you.
Thanks. Could you say something about the price difference between the X01 and between the Classmate PC?
Look, I don't have the pricing of these machines, but I do know that there's different segments of the market for the education for the third world. There's the very low-cost $100 PCs like OLPC you're talking about. This is a higher level segment. This is at a higher range, $250, perhaps a little bit more. I'm not sure of the pricing. But this is a higher segment. It's not the $100 PC. And this product here, the USSD 5000, fits into these Classmate PCs of Intel. And one additional advantage that is very significant that perhaps we didn't stress enough before has to do with power consumption. You know, the power is not stable in this part of the world, and often the child has to use the laptop without electricity at all. The power consumption of a device like this is only at 1/4 of that of a hard disk drive. Now, of course, when you look at the total battery life, there's other issues here that consume power, like the screen, and you have to do actual testing to see how long it will last. I don't have the...
So you don't have the numbers for the whole laptop
No,
right
I don't have the numbers
No.
for the whole laptop, but I can talk about this device. As a matter of fact, I can tell you about this device. This is the solid-state drive that actually sits in the mobile PC market, more of the mainstream population. And this has very significant power consumption and is also used in, for example, blade servers from IBM. And in the blade servers of IBM, one of the very strong reasons they choose these solid-state drives from Sandisk is because of the very significant power consumption, because to cool down the blades that are very close to each other requires a lot of energy, a lot of fans, which make it very expensive, and this is a much better solution therefore for IBM in their blade servers.
So it uses definitely less power than a normal hard drive.
50% less power than a hard drive.
And for exactly the same size? 1.8 inch, or what do you mean?
Yes, exactly right. And what is interesting about this market, I would like to explain. This is currently a product that we've segmented the market. Mobile PCs, many people have them, from students to geeks to road warriors to enterprises. And we are now targeting this product particularly to the corporation, to the big enterprises that buy many, many laptops and for their employees. And those employees are often traveling a lot, like you and me. And they need a laptop that can withstand the wear and tear of moving around. And for them, actually, the additional cost of an SSD over a hard disk is well worth the advantage of the SSD. And one of those advantages is the reliability. But I'd like to point out, when we talk about cost, that it is wrong to look at the price per gigabyte. Because when you look particularly at the enterprise, there's a total cost of ownership, the TCO, that is very relevant when we look at the cost for the enterprise. The IT department spends a lot of time and money on employees fixing laptops whose hard disks crash. And this is, of course, time, which is money of the employee who's not working. It's time of the IT employee who's fixing. It could be lost data. And all of that has to be taken into account when you calculate the cost of a hard disk versus a solid-state drive.
Is it definitely more reliable than a hard disk?
There's no question.
No question?
No question at all. We're talking here about a device that has no moving parts. It doesn't break like the hard disk drive crashes. And that's one of the huge advantages of this product.
But isn't there a limit of how many times you can write and erase?
Flash normally has that limitation, but coming from Sandisk with very strong IP for flash management and wear leveling, we are very confident that this product meets the user scenarios required from the laptop market.
So right now, for example, in 1.8 inch, is that kind of like the maximum 64, or can you do even more?
Currently, 64 gigabyte is the maximum that we have announced. We see and we hear from the OEMs that this is more than sufficient for what the enterprise users need right now. As a matter of fact, those companies do not want you to be downloading a lot of personal movies and pictures and songs. And in order to do your work, you can often see that even 32 gigabyte is enough. You know, when I had the opportunity to switch my hard disk in my Dell laptop to an SSD of 32 gigabyte, I was concerned maybe I won't have enough room. Well, I looked at, I went into my computer, I looked at properties I saw, and I saw I used 19 gigabyte. People don't use as much gigabytes as one might think. You know, you have a big disk of 60 gigabytes or 80, but you often don't use so much space. As a matter of fact, the very large disks are not used in terms of their full capacity, and actually 32 or 64 is definitely a sweet spot of what enterprise users need.
All right. But is IBM actually using this size 1.8 inch, or are they using bigger ones? You have 3.5 inch also, for example?
No, we don't have 3.5. They actually are using a caseless version for their product.
All right.
And Dell announced, though, that they're using the 1.8 32 gigabyte in their laptops, and those can be actually bought over the web.
All right. That they recently released?
Yes, not too long ago.
All right. Thanks. Thanks a lot. Thanks. Bye.